Alright guys, what's up? New deck profile today, Toons. Very enjoyable deck. Don't play against the meta because you'll lose, but against everybody else it's very fun. Great against Crystal Beasts, Dark Magicians, other decks of that variety. Uh, but here we go. This is the best we could do. We've been working on it day and night. This is like a project for us. If you could do better, let us know because I don't think you can, and I don't think we can, honestly. All right, so let's to start this off. We've got 3 copies of Toon Dark Magician. This card, you can discard a Toon card to either add a Toon card from your deck, or you can discard a Toon card to special summon a Toon card from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. We've
Also,
got
soft ones per turn.
soft once per turn, yes. We've got 2 copies of Red Eyes, Toon Dragon, one of the main playmakers, and these two are both good because they don't get destroyed when you destroy Toon World, which is very good. Uh, but this one basically, you can soft once per turn, special summon a Toon monster from your hand, also ignoring its summoning conditions, so you can immediately summon, another Dark Magician, and then you can use that to summon another Red Eyes, and you can use that Red Eyes to summon another Dark Magician. It's an endless loop. It's great, and again, they don't get destroyed. Then we've got 3 copies of Toon Gemini Elf. This one, just like all other Toons, can attack directly. When it attacks directly, you discard a card from your opponent's hand, which is really useful. This is a going second deck, although Toons can't attack the turn they're summoned. That's one of their main problems. You can summon a lot of monsters, you just can't do anything with them. So it's a bit frustrating. But this one is one of the better Toons. It's level 4, it's easy to summon. Definitely one of my favorites. We've got 2 copies of Toon Cyber Dragon. This one can do all types of plays, rank 5 plays. It's searchable, just like all the other ones. I'll show you later, one of the best search cards in the game. But yeah, you just do this for rank 5 plays and Chimera Tech plays. Very good for breaking boards. Again, going second deck. Got 1 copy of Toon Cannon Soldier. This one is just to finish games. Because sometimes you'll have like your opponent will have like 1,500 damage, like life points left, and you just this card isn't a once per turn. So like let's say you attacked, they have like 1,500 life points left. This is your field. You could just activate Tribute 500, activate Tribute 500, activate Tribute itself 500, and you win the game. So it's kind of crazy, and it's searchable, just like all these other cards. And you can summon it off of Dark Magician, or you can search it off of Toon Table of Contents. We've got 1 copy of Toon Mass Sorcerer. When this card does battle damage, you draw a card. Just like all other Toons, it can attack directly, so it's going to be doing battle damage. We've got 2 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. This card is very good because it gives you access to Red Eyes Toon Dragon immediately. You just tribute it, summon Red Eyes Toon Dragon. Later in the duel, you can shuffle the Red Eyes Toon Dragon back into your deck to add this back to your hand, which is very useful. Lets you kind of recycle that. Very good effect. One of our minor boss monsters of the deck, Eater of Millions. Sometimes there are monsters out there that are pretty tough to get over. This helps you significantly. This card, you banish cards out of your extra deck or, in your hand, but usually your extra deck. And then at least 5, and then you special summon it, and when it attacks a monster, it banishes it face down automatically. Also, it gains 100 attack for every face down banished card, and how everybody banishes face down and how this deck banishes face down, it's a very useful card. Alright, now over to the spells. We've got 3 copies of Toon Table. Oh, I'm sorry, Toon Kingdom. This is their field spell. It replaces regular Toon World. You don't have to play Toon World because it's just you losing 1,000 life points. It really has no other beneficial effects. But when this card is activated, you banish 3 cards. So it has off the top of your deck face down. So it has synergy with this. And then also, whenever one of your Toon monsters are about to get destroyed, you can banish a card off the top of your deck face down, and you can protect it, and that's not once per turn. You can keep protecting. So that card's really good, and it has a lot of synergy with Eater of Millions. So there are certain Toons when Toon Kingdom is destroyed that get destroyed. It's like Toon Gemini Elf gets destroyed and a few others, but for the most part, the newer ones do not get destroyed, which is really good. But definitely max out on this. 3 copies, you always want to have it up. 2 copies of Terraforming. Again, you always want to have it. You want to have this in your opening hand. It's difficult to play without it, but we have a lot of ways to search it. We've got 3 copies of Toon Table of Contents, the best search card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! This deck has some Toons have some really fantastic tools, but unfortunately, they have a lot of built-in restrictions. But they are by far this is by far the best search card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's the only thing that would come close is maybe like Rainbow Bridge and Sky Striker, Mobilizing Gauge. Like those are the only cards that would even come close to it. Like this is that good, because this isn't once per turn, and it searches like the entire archetype. It searches every Toon card, searches every Toon monster. It's even Manga Ryuer, even though it doesn't say it on the card, but it searches everything Toon, and it's not once per turn. And most importantly, it can search itself. So even Engage can't do that. It can search itself, so you can just put 3 spells in the graveyard, deck thin. It's just one of the best search cards of all time. We've got 1 copy of Mimikat. This is only good going second, but this is a going second deck. Basically, if you have Toon World and a Toon Monster, you can steal a card from your opponent's graveyard. If it's a monster, you special summon. If it's a spell or trap card, you set it in your spell and trap card zone. Very good. You steal Monster Reborn, steal monsters. It almost is scary what you can steal. You might even want to play more of this card. I mean, test it out, see how it goes. Then we've got Comic Hand. This is basically Snatch Steal, modern day Snatch Steal. It takes your opponent's monster and it turns it into a Toon, so like it's kind of very much useful, because like let's say you have Toon Kingdom on the field, you activate Comic Hand, take one of their monsters. Now you have both a Toon monster and a Toon World on the field. It's fantastic, great synergy, and quick little synergy there. Then we've got a 3 Pot of Extravagance. Imperative. Very imperative. This gives you the draw power you need in this deck. This deck doesn't draw outside of this except Mass Sorcerer, so it really doesn't matter. You're not losing much. Your extra deck is very minimal to begin with. You don't make a lot of link plays. This isn't a link deck. This isn't like, what's a link deck? This isn't Thunder Dragon, Thunder Guard Dragon. What do you think this is? Pegasus didn't know how to do this. Alright, then we've got 1 copy of Reasoning. Reasoning is like the greatest card ever printed. There's no debate. I wish this was a 3, but stupid Infernoid's got it on the ban list. So we've got Reasoning. Look at these levels. You'll never guess them. You will never guess them. No one. You start the duel, and your opponent is like, first of all, here's what you do, right? This is when you play mind games. What you do is you special summon a Toon Cyber Dragon, because you're going second. You special summon Toon Cyber Dragon, then you activate Reasoning. What are they going to guess? They're probably going to guess 5. They're imbeciles. And then you're going to hit something like this, or this, or this, and they're pretty much screwed. Nobody in their right mind is ever going to guess anything but any of the right numbers. No one's ever going to guess the right number. So Reasoning is fantastic in this deck. All levels are different. You might want to side it out eventually, but, it's your life. You figure it out. Then we've got 1 copy of 1 for 1. This searches the egg, the Red Eyes egg, puts it on the field. You don't have to waste a normal summon. It works sometimes. We've got 3 copies of Instant Fusion. We have the best Instant Fusion targets around. We'll show you when we get there. The actual, this is one of the craziest cards ever printed. I read it the first time. I almost fell out of my chair. It was so great. So basically, this card, when your opponent special summons a monster.
No, summons a monster.
When he summons, look at this. This is like the cameraman that talks. When your opponent summons a monster, right? Anywhere. Special summon, inherent special summon.
Flip summon, normal
summon, special summon off a card. It's great. Normal summon, it's great. So when they summon a monster, if you control a Toon monster, you don't even have to have Toon World. If you control a Toon monster, you just shuffle it back into the deck. Non-targeting, beautiful non-targeting removal. When we were planning the deck, you could tell the camera, we were actually just gonna build the deck just around this card, because this card is really the best card. This is the only really going first card that the whole deck has, and that's the problem. It's a bunch of going second cards. Well, actually, it's not even going second. It's really going fourth. It's not even going second. It's a going fourth deck. That's the problem. Except this one card. This is a very going first card, and it's a very good going first card. This is one of the best cards in the entire deck. It's kind of scary. We were even thinking about playing Lilith and searching it and doing a bunch of stuff like that. Then we're like, all right, let's relax. But yeah, incredible card. And then we've got 2 copies of Evenly Matched. At first, this was super polymerization. There are certain ways we could get around that, but I think Evenly Matched is just a little bit better, because you basically clear their board and then you start doing all this nonsense with your Toons, and then you set stuff like this, and they're not getting back. They're not getting back up. They're gonna fall over and break their hip. They're done. There's no use. Then we've got our extra deck. We've got one copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict. I only own one. I would play three. I would play two. Then we've got three copies of Thousand Eyes. This should be two Millennium and 2,000 Eyes. So if you're like, net decking or whatever you got to do, play two of each instead of three in one. But basically, this one is very good for avoiding hand traps. You activate Instant Fusion, summon it, and then you go through your normal plays. You do all your searches, and if your opponent activates a hand trap, you just snatch it, and it attaches to this monster, and then you make a free Link Karibo off of that. So it's beautiful. And this one is good for going second. Because you just you activate it, you snatch one of your opponent's monsters, you make a Link Karibo, and make your opponent's monster disappear. Then we've got two copies of Panzer Dragon. Beautiful card. We played it in testing. It was fantastic. It was like maybe a little too good. We might reduce it because we can't, playing that well isn't scary for everybody. But we played two copies of Panzer Dragon. Very good card. Pops if you don't even if you don't use it, you still get the pop. Isn't that great? If you use Instant Fusion, you're like, oh man, I ran out of gas, I have no plays. You just go, I end my turn, and then you just pop a card. It's great. But usually you'll be going into Infinity, and then we've got Chimera Tech, Mega Fleet Dragon. You can use Toon Cyber Dragon to fuse with your opponent, which is really with your opponent's extra deck monster. But also, and this is in testing. In testing, we actually played against a good number of Cyber Dragon decks, and that wasn't fun for them because basically we take their Cyber Dragon Infinity and insert Cyber Dragon monster here, Nova or something, and they just fuse their monsters, or it's kind of crazy. So very good against them. And we've got two copies of Cyber Dragon Infinity, two copies of Cyber Dragon Nova. Nova's useless in this particular variant of the deck. He's not in Cyber Dragon, so he's kind of useless. But he basically lets us Link climb into this, and this is one of the greatest
Link climb?
XYZ climb. XYZ ladder into this. This is one of the greatest boss monsters ever made. It snatches your opponent's monster and negates. It's every turn. It's scary. It's annoying. Sometimes against that card wins against back row decks. It really does. Because they have to set their cards just to activate them. They have to wait a turn. It's like, they're screwed. Then we've got one copy of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. Used to level 7s. Make this. Sometimes your opponent can't play. You put them in a pinch, pay life points, and then you summon Toon Cannon Soldier to finish them off. Just finish what's left. And then we've got two copies Link Karibo, so all of these level 1s have some use after we snatch monsters. But that's it. No side deck. You make your own side deck. You're smart people. You can figure it out. But that's everything. Thank you for watching. Very enjoyable deck to play. Very enjoyable video to make.